I know what you're going to think out there. Che Guevara? No, Che Diaz. This is an update to the video I did about Sex and the City's reboot and Just Like That. And now you're going to ask out there in Laszlo land, why do you care, Laszlo? Why? Why? Did you even watch these shows? Yes, I actually have. I've seen all 6 seasons and the 2 movies of this show. Why? Because I'm insane, and plus my wife likes it, and what are you going to do? I could have just got up and left, but, maybe a few of those times I was hammered off my butt and didn't want to get out of bed, or there was nothing else to do, so I did dabble into watching this. It sucked. It was painful, but that's just it. You got to do what you got to do when you're married. I could have went down to the garage and smashed my head with a freaking hammer, which would have been a better time than watching these shows, but I suspected that brain damage, however, be it from a hammer, is probably less than watching this show. But I still did it anyways. So, how they're replacing Samantha is with 3 women of color. And that begs the question, so you're sort of trying to say me that to replace 1 white person, you need 3 women of color. Got it. Sounds racist to me, doesn't it? And on face value, it's pretty racist. However, so we already got the person who's going to, one of the 3 women of color, who's going to replace Samantha, the overly sexualized, shifty on the, she dabbled in the show, she dabbled in lesbianism. She had a girlfriend and then went back to the peen because she liked it too much. But let's figure out. Actually, let me ask you this question out there. I'll ask you a question. How do you think they're going to replace her? What sort of gender role or gender will this person be? It's going to be a woman, of course. What sort of, just ask yourself, what is it going to be? Sarah Ramirez has been the first new member to be cast and will play Che Diaz. I know what you're going to think out there. Che Guevara? No, Che Diaz. Latinx? They haven't said it was Latinx. But you know what's coming next. Whom a press release described as a... Jesus. Why do I think this is funny? A non-binary queer stand-up comedian who hosts a podcast on which Carrie Bradshaw is regularly featured. I can't wait to see the other 2 women that's going to be cast for the other, to total up to 3 women that's going to replace Samantha. So we're going to have a non-binary queer stand-up comedian. I didn't know that non-binary stand-up comedians who are queer, that market or that subsection out there hasn't been tapped into yet. Apparently it hasn't, and they're going to tap into that non-binary queer stand-up comedian demographic. I don't even know, I barely know what non-binary is, and I barely know what their definition of queer is, but let's parse through this. So apparently, they, them, whatever, were born a woman. Now they identify as non-binary, meaning that they don't identify as either gender or any gender. Okay. And they're queer. Why have that moniker there? If you're non-binary, why would it matter if you're queer or not? That just seems a little, a bit much, I guess. And they're a stand-up comedian. Guys and gals out there in Lazaland, and you non-binary queers out there, apparently, as per the show, I don't know one person out there in my personal life that's non-binary. I know I have plenty of friends out there who were on my, and who were friends with my wife, who are homosexual, but they don't identify as non-binary. I don't know anybody who's non-binary. None. Zero. I don't even know if that can be construed as a default on my part or a fault on society's, that they don't feel that they're, I don't know, represented enough to be put into a reboot. Imagine that. Imagine a non-binary queer stand-up comedian. I don't know any. I don't know any. I don't know if they're funny. But at the end of this paragraph, she says, Shay is a big presence with a big heart, whose outrageous sense of humor and progressive human overview of gender roles has made them and their podcast very popular. That's what we need out there, folks and boys and girls. And Lazoland is a non-binary, queer stand-up comedian with a big heart whose outrageous sense of humor... Oh my god, fuck this!